Ever hopped on a boat and thought, wow, this interior is something else?
Mm-hmm.
We're diving deep into the world of marine upholstery today,
Yeah,
because who makes that happen?
right.
Not just your average upholsterer, that's for sure.
You're right. It's a whole different game when your workshop is constantly swaying.
Yeah.
I'm excited to break it down with you.
You bring so much expertise on this.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So we've got a listener who's seriously considering this career path, which is awesome. And they've sent over a stack of articles, forum discussions, even some job postings to get a feel for things.
Sounds like they're doing their homework.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So first things first, let's get specific. What does a marine upholsterer actually do all day?
Well, forget that image of someone just slapping cushions on deck chairs.
Yeah.
We're talking about crafting entire interiors.
Okay.
Think custom seating that's both stylish and able to handle years of salt spray. Wall coverings that don't surrender to mildew. Even those intricate little details like hand-stitched accents that make a boat feel luxurious.
It's like the whole ambiance of being out on the water starts with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's just the aesthetic side. There's a huge problem-solving element, too.
Okay.
Imagine trying to fit a plush, curved banquette into the cabin of a sailboat. You're dealing with odd angles, limited space, and the ever-present challenge of moisture.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I can see why this isn't your grandma's upholstery gig. What are some of the biggest curveballs, so to speak, that marine upholsterers have to navigate?
One of the biggest is material selection. You can't just slap any old fabric on a boat.
Right.
UV rays are brutal, salt water is corrosive, and then there's the constant friction of people moving around.
Yeah.
Marine upholsterers have to be like walking encyclopedias of textiles, knowing which synthetics can withstand the elements, what foams offer the right balance of comfort and durability, and even how to incorporate sustainable, ocean-friendly materials that are becoming increasingly popular.
Now that is fascinating. I bet there are some really cool innovations happening on that front.
Oh, absolutely. Did you know some upholsterers are using fabrics made from recycled ocean plastic?
Wow.
Talk about closing the loop. And the technology they're using is light years beyond what it used to be.
Okay, now you've really piqued my interest. What kind of tech are we talking about? Is it those computerized sewing machines I've heard about?
Those are definitely part of it. But we're also talking about powerful cutting tables that can slice through multiple layers of fabric with laser precision. And then there's the game changer.
Let me guess. Something to do with computers.
You got it. Computer-aided design, or CAD software, has revolutionized the way marine upholsterers work.
Tell me more.
Imagine taking the exact dimensions of a boat's interior and feeding them into a program that lets you create a 3D model.
Wow.
You can map out every curve, every angle, and then design your upholstery elements to fit perfectly even before you cut a single piece of fabric. It's a game changer for efficiency and accuracy.
Wow, that's next level stuff.
Right.
So it's not just about being handy with a needle and thread anymore. You need serious tech skills too.
Absolutely. And it's not just about knowing how to operate the equipment. The best marine upholsterers can troubleshoot those machines, adapt to new software, and even use technology to push the boundaries of design. It's a career that really blends artistry and technology in a unique way.
I'm starting to see why our listeners are so drawn to this field. It's like a perfect storm of creativity, craftsmanship, and high-tech wizardry. But let's get real for a moment. What's the career path actually look like for an aspiring marine upholsterer?
You know, it's interesting you mention a storm.
Yeah,
Because that's often a good metaphor for the journey. It rarely follows a straight line.
I bet. So no set in stone, you must go to this school type of path.
Exactly. Some folks come to this with a traditional upholstery background. Maybe they've worked in furniture or automotive. Others fall in love with boats and figure out the rest as they go. There's a real value placed on hands-on experience and apprenticeship in this field.
So finding a mentor, someone who's been out on those rough seas, is key.
Absolutely. Imagine learning the nuances of marine fabrics from someone who's seen firsthand how they hold up over time. Or mastering those hand-stitching techniques that are still essential for certain details.
Yeah.
You can't get that from a textbook.
Makes sense. So let's say our listener finds that perfect mentor, starts racking up experience. What's the typical trajectory from there?
We usually start at the entry level, assisting experienced upholsterers learning the ropes, maybe tackling smaller projects independently. From there, you move into a more junior role where you're managing your own workload, taking on more complex designs, really honing those problem-solving skills we talked about.
I imagine that's where those tech skills really come into play too, being able to work with those fancy machines and software.
You got it. And as you gain experience and confidence, you might find yourself in a senior role overseeing projects, managing a team, ensuring quality control, maybe even training the next generation of marine upholsterers.
So the possibilities are pretty vast, from running your own shop to working on mega yachts.
Absolutely. And one thing that's really appealing to a lot of people in this field is the variety. No two boats are exactly alike, so you're constantly facing new challenges, using different materials, flexing your creative muscles. It's definitely not a desk job.
Speaking of flexing muscles, I have to ask, what's the physicality of this work like? It can't be easy maneuvering large pieces of fabric in those sometimes cramped boat interiors.
You're right, it can be physically demanding. You're often working in awkward positions, lifting heavy materials, spending hours on your feet. Good hand-eye coordination and a bit of upper body strength are definitely assets.
So good for the mind and the body. But what about those other essentials for a successful career? You know, beyond the hands-on stuff, what kind of personality traits thrive in this line of work?
Well, if you're the kind of person who enjoys meticulous work where precision and attention to detail are paramount, that's a good start. Patience is also key, especially when you're dealing with complex designs or intricate stitching.
Sounds like the kind of person who enjoys a good jigsaw puzzle, meticulously putting every piece in place.
Exactly. And let's not forget about those people skills. Marine upholsterers are often working directly with clients, interpreting their vision and ensuring their expectations are met.
It's a collaboration, just like we're doing right now, bouncing ideas off each other.
Precisely. You have to be a good listener, a clear communicator, and sometimes even a bit of a diplomat when it comes to design choices.
So a dash of therapist thrown in for good measure. I like it.
Yeah.
But it's not all smooth sailing, right? What are some of the less glamorous aspects of the job that someone considering this career should be aware of?
Yeah, it's not always sunshine and calm waters. Working with tight deadlines, especially during peak boating season, can be stressful.
Right.
And then there's the occasional head-scratching moment when you're trying to fit a square peg into a round porthole. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
I bet there are some wild stories out there about those "how did we pull this off" moments.
Oh, absolutely. We could swap war stories all day.
Yeah.
But it's that problem-solving aspect that keeps things interesting. And let's be real, there's also the business side of things to consider. Whether you're working for yourself or someone else, you've got to be savvy about pricing, managing inventory, and staying ahead of industry trends.
And those trends can change like the tides.
Yeah.
Right? What are some things a marine upholsterer can do to stay ahead of the curve?
One of the best things you can do is never stop learning. Attend industry workshops, subscribe to trade publications, experiment with new materials and techniques. Networking is huge, too.
I bet. Swapping ideas with other marine upholsterers, picking up on new trends, maybe even finding collaborators for those bigger projects.
That's exactly it. And don't underestimate the power of building a strong online presence. A website or social media portfolio showcasing your best work can be invaluable.
Right.
It's like having a virtual showroom for your skills.
Okay, that's a great point. I imagine a lot of potential clients are browsing Instagram for inspiration before they even reach out to an upholsterer. Speaking of which, what advice would you give to someone just starting out? Want to get their foot in the door, or should I say their boat on the water?
Don't be afraid to start small. Offer to help out at a local upholstery shop, even if it's just sweeping floors or making deliveries. The key is to be around those experienced professionals, soak up knowledge, and show initiative.
I love that. Be a sponge, observe, and learn from the best.
Exactly. And when you're ready to take the plunge, having a solid portfolio showcasing your skills and passion will be crucial.
So even if it's just reupholstering a vintage car seat or creating custom cushions for a friend's boat, every project counts.
Absolutely. Each project is a chance to hone your skills, experiment with different materials, and develop your own style. And who knows, that passion project you poured your heart into might just catch the eye of a dream client.
Okay, before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the artistic side of this profession. Because it's more than just technical skills, right? You're creating an experience, a feeling when you design the interior of a boat.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about understanding how color, texture, and design elements work together to evoke a certain mood or ambiance. Do you want to create a sense of cozy warmth in a sailboat's cabin? Or maybe a sleek, modern feel for a high-tech speedboat? Every choice a marine upholsterer makes contributes to the overall experience of being on the water.
It's like they're weaving a story with fabric and foam.
A story that unfolds with every stitch, and knowing how to tailor that story to the client's vision, the boat's purpose, and even the waters it will sail, that's where the true artistry comes in.
This has been such a fascinating exploration. We've gone from the nuts and bolts of marine upholstery to the artistic nuances and everything in between.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure sharing my passion with you and our listener.
And speaking of our listener, they came to us wanting to know if a career as a marine upholsterer would be a good fit. And I have a feeling they're one step closer to setting sail on this exciting path.
I hope so. It's a rewarding career for those with a love of craft, a passion for boats, and a healthy dose of adventure in their heart.
And that is the perfect note to end on for our listeners. Keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe we'll have you back for a deep dive into your dream career one day. Until then, thanks for joining us.